Hey Canucks fans, where did you watch Game 7, Vancouver-Boston, June 15th, 2011? I'm Clay Emo, I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter, I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram, I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club, and this is my Canucks Take All in One Take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Thursday, April the 9th. Thanks to all you who joined me for my live stream last night. We had a lot of fun talking about serious stuff, some not so serious stuff. I appreciate you checking in, chance for you to check in on me, chance for me to check in with you, and overall went very well last night. Also, thanks for your thoughts and well wishes. This is indeed the jacket, my favorite Canucks hoodie that I was wearing when I got pooped on by that jerk bird yesterday when I was waiting outside Safeway. Some of you saw my tweets about it, and then I shared the story on my live stream last night. I was with my son Sean, and as I felt the bird poo not only on my jacket but also a bit on my face, pretty gross. I'm not sure what I expected Sean to say, but he basically said, "Oh, gross, you just got crapped on by a bird." And I said, "Yeah, thanks for the observation." So I very calmly wiped things off, gave him $50, said, "Go buy our groceries." I said, "I'll be back in 15 minutes and I will come pick you up." So I went home, washed this thing, showered, of course, and went to go get him. So that was my excitement. My wife Gail told me that some people consider that good luck when you get pooped on by a bird, and I tweeted that out. I put it on my Facebook, on my Instagram, and a lot of people seem to be agreeing with that sentiment. So didn't really feel good at the time, but I was proud of, or not proud, but I was happy with the way that I reacted. Didn't go too crazy, nor did I start gagging or throwing up in front of other people in line at Safeway. So that was some excitement for today, for yesterday, I should say. For today, I wanted to talk about a lighter topic, and I don't dwell on Game 7. Truly, I don't. But a lot of people have been talking about 2011. Is that the best Canucks team in history? They're replaying some games from that run, right? The Game 7 against Chicago, the Stanchion assisted game, the Game 5 against San Jose. Haven't shown anything against Boston yet. I'm not sure if Sportsnet will. But a lot of people have been talking about that team, and we reminded of that team when the Sedins were the retirement jersey in February, and you had guys like Luongo and Kessler and Bieksa and Burles and Hansen. They were all there, and Edler, of course. They were all there to participate in that ceremony as well. So there's been a lot of talk in the last couple months about this game. So I simply want to open up the conversation. I'd love to hear from you down below in the comments. Where did you watch that game from? Were you at the arena? Were you at home? Were you at a bar? Were you downtown with 150,000 other people? And then also, where were you? What did you do after the game? I'm just as interested in that, actually. Very interested in that. And I'll share my quick story. Many of you guys know this already. And again, I don't dwell on this. I don't lose sleep over the fact that we lost Game 7. Of course, I would have loved the Canucks to win, but you guys know I'm pretty positive, pretty optimistic. Don't worry so much about what happened 9 years ago, but it does make for some good discussion. So as you know, and this isn't a weird flex, this is the truth, I was at that game. I was in the arena. That was actually the first year that I became a season ticket holder. What a year to come in, 2010, 2011. So I saw many, many great performances by the Canucks throughout that season, especially in the playoffs. And then I went to Game 1. Did not go to Game 2. I was running a church event. So we know the Canucks went up 2-0. Then they lost the next two in Boston, so 2-2. Then I went to Game 5, so 3-2. And then you think, and then they lose in Boston Game 6. So then come back to Vancouver and pretty excited, have a chance to obviously win the Stanley Cup. I was excited that we were going to see a Stanley Cup victory here in Vancouver, and I was thinking about what I was gonna do, how I was gonna react, what was I gonna tweet, where was I gonna run, how was I gonna handle myself, who was I gonna call, all these things. And then the game unfolded, and we know that it was a tough game. The Canucks lost 4-0. We know that, and so I was at that game, and I was there watching our team get dismantled before our eyes, but by a very, I wouldn't say that Boston was the better team that season, but they were certainly a better team that series. A lot of the games that were won at home by Vancouver were close, right? They're either overtime or one-goal games, whereas the games in Boston were whitewashed. So you could argue that Boston was the better team. Maybe they're healthier, maybe they just had better mentality, whatever it is. So I was at that game, and I see the Canucks lose. So of course I'm upset. I'm not crying, I'm not swearing, because I don't swear, but I was upset because I was getting excited to see them win. And then, as I see Gary Bettman come out, as I see Tim Thomas be named as the Conn Smythe winner, as I see Big Ugly, no, I shouldn't say that, the Big Goofball, I shouldn't say that either, but I just did. Zdeno Chara skating around Rogers Arena, with the Stanley Cup, Tim Thomas and all the players, I started to get a lot of texts, especially from my wife Gail. And my phone started to really start to be buzzing and get a lot of messages. And then Gail basically said, be careful, don't leave the arena. So I said, or be careful when you leave the arena. I said, why, hon? And she said, they're starting to riot, or they're starting to gather. They're starting to be unruly outside. So if you remember the timing, the riot didn't start right away. Well, it kind of did, is that slowly things started to happen near the end of the third period. But then it took a few minutes for it to really ramp up as the crowds moved. They moved in front of the post office. They moved throughout downtown. And you guys know that Rogers Arena is kind of on the you say almost the fringe of downtown. It's on one side, right, close to the Dunsmuir Viaduct, the Georgia Viaduct, and so on and so forth. So I stayed in the arena for about a good 45 to 60 minutes afterwards. I watched all the interviews. I watched all the Boston Bruins, families come out to celebrate. And of course, I wasn't happy to that Vancouver lost, but I was witnessing history, right? When else am I going to witness a Stanley Cup win, whether it's for the home team or the away team? So I stayed there and I watched. Wasn't booing or anything. I watched and I showed my respect to Boston as much as I make fun of them. And then it was time to go. And then I parked my car at my office building, which was in the corner of Robson and Cambie. So still on the outskirts of downtown. If you know downtown well, it's basically right by BC Place. And then as you walk, I guess east or whatever way you want to say on Robson, that's how you get to the heart of downtown. So, but even leaving the arena, you could hear chanting, you could hear cheering, you could hear rowdiness. And then as we were walking from the arena home, I could look down the road and I could see the crowds starting to form in front of the post office down Georgia Street. I could see the crowds, forming on Homer, on Richards, or whatever it may be. Like I said, Georgia and Dunsmuir and Robson. And it was pretty scary. It was pretty scary, to be honest with you. And as much as I kind of like to know what's going on, I knew that it would be wise for me to get out of there. So instead of me venturing downtown, I actually kind of just went straight down either Beatty or Cambie and avoided a lot of it, went straight to my office, got in my car and drove home. And then was with my family and watching everything ravel in front of me on the news, and it was crazy. And I use this a lot in my talks to youth groups and stuff like that. When I talk about discipleship and I talk about making good choices, I make the point that a lot of people did not make really good choices in that evening, and they were criminally charged and they were ashamed in the media, and what they thought was cool on that night or expressing their fandom supposedly end up affecting their lives, the rest of their lives. So I make the point of, was that worth it? But I was riveted because it wasn't about the hockey highlights. It wasn't about the game. It wasn't even about the Boston Bruins. Every news article I saw, news story I saw, was about what was going on downtown and the rioting, which was very sad on one hand as well. So that was my experience. And then I talk about in my talks to church groups about how the real heroes were the people that went downtown the next day, the next morning, without the fanfare of ESPN or TSN or Fox News or NBC or ABC or CBS or CBC or CTV or Global. Without that fanfare, it was the hundreds of people that scrubbed, cleaned, picked up litter, washed things the next morning. Those were the true fans and true heroes. Or the night before, those people that kind of stood arm in arm protecting businesses and residences and restaurants and even our Catholic cathedral downtown. So it made for a very interesting time. It's made for a lot of good material for a lot of my talks, but that's not the point of this vlog. The point of this vlog is I want to hear your emotions, your experiences from June 15, 2011. It was a Wednesday night. I know that. I remember that very well. And yeah, that was the night that we thought the Canucks were going to win the Stanley Cup. The game started at 5, if my memory serves me correct, right? 8 o'clock for the Eastern time zone. So the game ended around 7:30. So all the unrest was starting to happen around 7:15, 7:20, 7:30, and then, of course, 8 o'clock and then on throughout the night. I didn't get home. By the time I left the arena, it was probably 8:30 or 9, got to my office, drove home. So I probably got home around 10, 2 hours after the game ended. 2.5 hours after the game ended. Then I stayed up for another 2 or 3 hours watching all the footage on the news. So my emotions during the game, I was sad, I was disappointed, I was upset, and then after the game, I was scared, I was embarrassed, and I was wanting to get home as soon as I could. relatively speaking, when I thought it was safe to leave the arena. So there we go, Canucks fans. I would love to hear about your experiences from that night, June 15, 2011. Talk to me. Tell me where you watched the game and how you're feeling throughout the game, and tell me where you were after the game. Hopefully you're not going to say that you were downtown in the thick of the riot, but let me know. Were you downtown in the streets? Were you at home? Were you at a pub? Were you at a friend's place? I'd love to know, and I would love to enter into these conversations with you. So let me know. Leave a comment below. I love to read, react, and reply, as always. Subscribe if you like to. Like this video if you like to. Enjoy the day. Take care of yourselves and of each other. Stay safe and stay healthy as well. God bless, and go Canucks go.